All right, welcome to Off the Record with IndieHomeSolutions.com. Today we have a legend in the house, in the studio. You talk about someone that knows pretty much everything when it comes to real estate. He is a mentor. He is a stand-up guy, cares about his clients, cares about his customers, has an excellent reputation here in central Indiana and the community. Does a lot of volunteer work in the community, food drives, helps and volunteers and through the Indianapolis Public School District and just throughout the city of Indianapolis. Man, welcome, Eric Middleton.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
The pleasure is all ours. And we wanted to talk a little bit about real estate. We had conversations in the past, and if I'm going to dive right into it, and if I wanted to buy a house, I don't know where to start. What's my first steps? What should I do?
The first step is you want to make sure that you definitely have a roadmap to make sure that when it comes to you ready to buy a house, because a lot of times I find buyers that, they feel like they know what it takes to buy a home. And I'm not taking anything away from them because some do, most don't. And I say that to say, getting with a lender is definitely the way to go because they will ensure that everything that you need to ensure that you are able to get a approved qualification letter to say, hey, this person is qualified not only to buy a home, but to buy a home at this certain amount.
Okay.
Because that's what a lot of buyers don't understand is there is such thing called DTI, which is debt to income ratio. So although your credit score might be where it needs to be, but there's some other variables that really consider and to take into that's a huge impact to say, okay, hey, your credit score is here, but now how much do you qualify for? I've had some buyers come to me and be like, hey, why did I only qualify for this amount? Well, your debt to income ratio will determine how much house you can purchase.
So basically what they bring in from an income perspective and then what they have going out, like student loans,
correct,
auto loans, credit cards,
yes,
furniture loans, all that kind of stuff impacts.
It plays a huge impact on what a person can qualify for. I've had some people say, I make good money. Yeah, you do make good money, but what does your debt look like? What does your income look like? And that determines how much house you can purchase.
Right.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of people that go to our Facebook page and they go to our website and they're just trying to get information. And one of the areas I know that you talked about previously was, start with a savings.
Yes.
Have something saved, even though we're going to get into the first time home buying programs, but why is it important to have, maybe a couple thousand, several, 5,000? What do you tell somebody?
Yeah, I always tell my clients, you at least want to have $3,000 to $5,000 out of pocket expenses, because there are some things that you have to pay out of pocket up front, outside of the first time home buyer program. You have to consider the inspection, the appraisal. People don't realize that you have to pay your homeowner's insurance up one full year. So that has to be, there as well. And you don't want to go move into a house with absolutely nothing in your bank account, because now you're going to put yourself in a situation that you're living check to check. You live check to check, one thing goes wrong, then what? Now you're in a situation where you can possibly lose your home. So you want to have a little bit of savings put up just as a cushion to feel good about buying your first home.
So it's like having that emergency fund just in case, especially as a homeowner, because if they do that in the long run, and I think you've mentioned this before, now we're in a point, if we've been in that house 3, 4, 5 years, now we're getting equity.
Yeah, you're getting equity, exactly. And keep in mind that, when you own a home, you have deductibles too. And that cushion that you've already saved up, it makes sure that your deductibles, what I mean by that is, nature happens, life happens, say a storm comes through and you just purchased your home and you don't have nothing saved up. Well, what about your deductible? Your deductible could be $1,000 to make sure that whatever happens, you're able to pay for that expense, or a home warranty. We always ensure that we give our buyers a home warranty for at least the first year. That's a deductible as well. So that's the whole reason why you want to have some type of cushion, some type of savings set up in your account so that you feel good about turning that key to your first time going into your new home, which is really exciting for everybody.
Oh, you know what? You've helped hundreds, maybe thousands of people become homeowners.
Exactly.
And I know in your journey, you've helped a lot of people get the first-time homebuyer programs.
Absolutely.
But it's not what everybody always thinks.
Man, it's
those
not.
programs are. There's some pros and cons.
It is.
To those programs. Tell us a little bit about the pros.
It is. First-time homebuyer programs works. It's available, and some people have to take advantage of it. For the whole purpose of what I just stated before this is some people don't have their savings put up. So that's what it's there for. Take advantage of it if you have to. If you don't have to, then that works in your favor. And I say this to say, when it comes to first-time homebuyer programs, there are pros and cons. The pros is, okay, you don't have the money saved up, and they give you the money to buy a home. Absolutely, that works. But the cons, to me, outweighs the pros. And I say this from an experienced real estate broker, because the first-time homebuyer programs are available, but you also have a higher interest rate versus you having your own down payment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, and the interest rate, it could be, it's not a huge difference, but it's a huge difference when it comes to your mortgage payment, right? So
most people are just concerned about their payment.
Yeah, that's why I stated that. It's more, it's a bigger issue when it comes to your mortgage payment. So I mean, it could be almost of a difference of a couple $100 a month on your mortgage payment when you do a first time home buyer program. Your PMI could be a little bit higher as well. Not to mention, there are a fine print that people don't realize is that you're also locked into, it could be a 7-year commitment or a 9-year commitment. And what I mean by that is, if you do a first-time homebuyer program, then that program may say you have to stick with this loan for 7 years, or then you have to pay this money back
if you move.
If you
decide to sell.
If you decide to sell, then you owe them that money, and it's not prorated. You owe them that full money plus interest.
Oh, wow.
So, that's why you have to really be concerned about if that's something, if you have to do it, it works. But if you don't have to do it, then it's best to have your own down payment.
So in many cases, it's like if I'm saving money throughout the year, maybe I got part of my tax return to kind of help with that. One of the things that I tell people every day is that, hey, man, we're creeping into the end of the year, and then we'll be going into tax season. If you're tired of renting and throwing your money away, well, hey, give you a call, right? Call Eric Middleton to get your tax return, put that up, for a down payment for a home. And you'll actually, like you said, the pros, you get a lower payment because you have a lower interest rate.
Correct.
And then you're able to get into that home you really want, as opposed to depending on a first-time homebuyer program. Although those are good programs.
They're good programs.
But it's not the end-all, be-all.
Yeah. I just don't want you to focus on the first-time homebuyer program if you don't have to. Like, for example, this is November. We know tax season is right around the corner. If you can use that tax money and save up a little more money, then what you've done is allowed yourself to have the 3% of the down payment. That being said, down payment is 3.5% of your purchase price. So just some rough numbers, if you had a $100,000 house, you're looking at $3,750 for your down payment. You can do the math from there, right? So on a estimated guess, our median right now is about $250,000 to purchase a home. Then you want to at least save up probably about $13,000 to $15,000 to be able to go buy a home, put down on it, and it works in your favor. Not to mention, depending on your credit score, you can actually eliminate the PMI, which also keeps your payments low too.
Absolutely.
So
what's PMI?
Primary mortgage insurance is, it actually is just a cushion for the investors to say, hey, if this buyer comes in and default on this loan, they don't want to lose out totally on that loan. So that ensures that they're getting their money back. So that's what their primary mortgage insurance
is. So basically the bank is taking out insurance.
They're taking insurance. That's right.
If you lose the house, they're covered.
Exactly.
Welcome to the American dream.
That's right.
Hey, let's talk new construction. I know you're a big fan. You sell a lot of new homes all across the city. We talked about pros and cons earlier. One of the things you mentioned to me was the time frame.
New construction definitely works in your favor. It can, depending on if you have discipline, if you're obedient to stick to the roadmap. And I mean by that is, when you're doing new construction, you have to consider these things. It will take more time to to build a home than it used to back in the days.
Right.
I mean, let's just be transparent and just let you know that, it's not going to take 4 to 6 months to build a home right now in 2022, 2023. It's going to take close to a year, 8 months, probably to a year. And in between that time, when I say pros and cons, the pros is, well, you get to save up more money while your house is being built. That works. Absolutely. And you get to build the house the way you want to.
Right.
So that works. Absolutely. The cons is that there's there's an opportunity for a life to happen, right? What I mean by that is, you could possibly lose a job, or, you could just not pay a bill on time. Your credit score could be affected. So there are things that could happen throughout the time the house is being built. And then next thing you know, now you can't move forward with purchasing your home. So it just depends on, ask yourself, be honest with yourself. If I'm going to get a house built, number one, am I patient enough to wait for this house to get built? Number two, is this a better situation for me to say, always consider your lease arrangements too. If you're in a lease or you're renting, is your lease going to be up at a certain time? Can you do month to month? Or, there's a lot of things that you take into consideration. But the bigger thing is, are you disciplined enough to ensure that you're still able to pay your bills, you're able to save your money, and you're able to be patient enough to say, I want to build and I'm going to wait for my dream home to be built.
One of the things I find fascinating about building a home and obviously being, involved in real estate for a very long time, one of the things I find fascinating is that there's only a handful of builders out there that have what's called like a pay-as-you-build program.
Yes.
So you're able to make monthly payments to the builder, and that money is held in an escrow account for you. And when you close on your home, it's released and go towards your down payment.
Man, that is an amazing program that a builder can offer to people, because, as I stated, when it comes to savings, let's be honest, saving money is not the easiest thing to do. But when a builder gives you that opportunity to save money as a house is being built, oh my goodness, like that's amazing, because now you have a goal. Your end goal is to save up a certain amount of money while your house is being built. And that's a dream come true. And some builders offer it, some builders don't. I know some builders that do offer it. I know some builders that don't. They want the money up front. And like I said, any builder that offers a program, that's amazing. It is.
I think it helps serve the underserved, so to speak.
Yes.
It provides opportunities for people to purchase homes that would not necessarily have that opportunity.
Absolutely.
Because you mentioned that some builders want you to have all that money up front, ready to go. And I get it. They're building you a beautiful home. But there's other builders that said, hey, you know what? We'll take $3,000 up front, and the rest of it you can pay over the build time. And you just mentioned that some of the build times is 9 months to a year. So they're giving you another, 9 months to a year to come up with maybe $8,000.
Yeah.
$8,000 or so based on the house that we talked about previously. That's definitely a pro.
Yeah, and it's a game changer, because if you think about it, one thing we will do is, if we know that we got to do a certain thing to accomplish this goal, and you commit to it, and you have the opportunity that's even available from a builder, that's a game changer. That's amazing.
And you have like I said, the reputation, you've been doing this for so long, you're able to kind of help guide them. You talk about a roadmap. You kind of help guide them, and that's what's one of the pieces of the roadmap.
Yeah, it is one of the pieces of the roadmap.
In addition to that kind of falls in line with what I know you're big on is, establishing a budget. Having all your clients establish a budget. Just because you see a nice shiny house on Facebook, and you see some ads and things on Facebook, you really need to sit down and talk to somebody and set up a one-on-one with them, like yourself, and come up with a budget, come up with a plan, find out how much down payment is going to be needed, which loan programs you qualify for, and then we'll find you and build you a house.
Oh yeah, and it's going to be within your means. So when I say that is, I've had some of my clients come to me and, well, I don't qualify for this much. Guys, bottom line is, if this is what you qualify for, that is within your means. But it's your house, it's your investment. Be okay with that. You don't try to keep up with the Joneses. Do what works for you and what's best for you and your family and your generational wealth. Because at the bottom line is, investment is the way to go to be able to survive in America. And to me, when you can have that opportunity to go buy a home, do it. If your credit allows you to do it, your finances allow you to do it, go buy you a home.
What do you've been in a situation, I've been in a situation where you are buying your first home.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're wanting to buy a home. And it's a scary process.
It is.
If you're not familiar with it, so many people want to purchase a home but don't necessarily know what to do, who to talk to. How can somebody get a hold of you and set up a time to meet with you and kind of walk through that roadmap?
I really appreciate the opportunity for anybody to feel comfortable enough to come to me and say, hey, Eric, can you help me get to this roadmap? I guarantee you I can get you to the roadmap. And I can guarantee that because this is what we do. It's not just about putting you in a house. It's also about educating you, the knowledge. Because one thing I've learned as I've helped hundreds of people get a home that didn't have the educational knowledge and know what it took to do so is we give them a roadmap. And to get to that roadmap is contacting me, Eric Middleton. I work for Middland Real Estate. I'm the owner, managing broker. You can contact me at 317-869-5212. And my email address is eric@midlandrealestate.com, eric@midlandrealestate.com, MIDDLAND realestate.com.
So that's 317-869-5212.
5212, yes.
So,
yes.
And the reason why I wanted to put that in there is because you've helped so many people that have come out through the Indie Home Solutions site that we referred out to you, and you were able to help them and find a home. There's no reason why you can't continue to do that with the folks that are watching this video today.
And I look forward to it because we get it done.
Yeah. So, we've talked about first-time home buyer programs. We talked about new construction, down payment, pros and cons, having an emergency fund, building equity, generational wealth. One last thing, well, two things. One, as far as building generational wealth, folks that are purchasing a home need to look at this as an investment.
It is. It
is.
Not
just buying a house.
No, it's not, because, let's just be honest. I mean, when it comes to investment, what other things do we have the opportunity to invest into, right? So this is the one opportunity that we can invest and create generational wealth. And that is so important to the next generation and the next generation, because bottom line is, it's not about paying bills every day. It's not about buying all these materialistic things. It's not about all these vacations. It's about creating generational wealth for your family. And to me, that's the end all be all when it comes to a means to an end, right? So, yeah, this is the perfect opportunity for you to invest your money and to build equity. When I mean equity, like it's so huge that after so many years of being in your property, you have the equity to either take out for things that emergency funds, or you can even take that equity out and invest into something else. Or you can just pay it off and have that investment down the line for generational wealth. There's so many opportunities when you're investing in building a home buying a home.
People really need to get a hold of you, man. You got a lot of wealth and knowledge, because if I can buy a home, hold on to it for a few years, pull some money out of it, go buy another home and keep my home, but go buy another rental property or something, man, that's building generational wealth.
Generational wealth. And that's the one thing that can't stop us from doing, and we need to take full advantage of it. And I'm here to do that for you. I'm not new to this. I've been doing this for going on 18 years, so I'm very experienced with this market and this industry, far from wet behind the ears. I have plenty of resources, and as David stated, Indie Home Solutions. I've helped plenty of those of his people to get situated, and I love, and one thing that keeps me thriving, keep doing this business, I love putting smiles on family faces. When I tell you I don't have to market enough, because when you take care of people and you put smiles on their faces, first thing they do is refer you to the next person and refer you to the next person. That's how I keep myself busy, because I treat people right.
And you do, man, and we're lucky to have you as a preferred realtor. One of the things that a lot of people believe that this market we're in a bad market. They believe that now is not the time to purchase a home. The media will scare the crap out of people and make them believe that this is not. It's always, in my opinion, it's always a good time to buy a home.
It's always
a good time to invest money. It's always a good time to try to build generational wealth. And it bothers me when I see these folks telling people what they should do with their money, and they have no stake in what that person's personal or financial life looks like. There's they don't even know what their goals are.
Correct.
And I think for folks that are on the cusp of buying a home and maybe thinking about buying a home, maybe you buy a home may not be necessarily one that you're going to live in, but you buy a home and you can use that equity to go buy something else.
Yeah. I want to do something real simple. It's going to take me 2 seconds to do this. I'm gonna give you a rent payment, because right now the average rent payment is between $1,500 to $2,000 a month. So let's go on the low end. You mind me doing
absolutely,
that? If we do $1,600 a month times a year, you're looking at $19,200 in 1 year. If you do that for 5 years, you just wasted $96,000.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
I say this to say that, or the prices, cost a little bit more than they used to? Yes, they do. Is the interest rate a little bit higher? Yes, it is. But what you just said is, just because of the circumstances, I'm not going to buy a home. But what you've also said was, I'm going to continue throwing money year after year after year after year. Because what people don't understand is there is a brighter future ahead when it comes to interest rates. So maybe today the interest rate may be a little bit higher. But if you're in your house for 35 years, the market always changes. The economy is ebbs and flows, and life is ebbs and flows, and interest rates ebbs and flows. You'll find yourself in a refinance down the line, and then now you're back to where you want to be with your monthly payments, and then you can afford it. But if you're renting for the next 5 years at $1,800 a month, that's $100,000 in 5 years you just threw away. That don't sit well with me, and it shouldn't sit well with the buyers either.
Yeah, and that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money to just give away because you're saying, well, the house is costing much, well, the interest rate's high. Okay.
Well, I heard something recently. It says you marry the house, you date the rate.
Yeah, there you go. You date the rate because the interest rate will change, and all you got to do is get refinanced, and then you'll be in a better situation. Yeah,
and you keep your house.
Yeah, it will change. It always changes. I mean, think about it. We just went through this back in decades ago.
Right.
And things do change. Just be adaptable to what happens in your life, but know that the bigger picture is you want to invest your money and not throw money away. We do enough of that on all the other stuff we do with the cars that depreciate and the gold and the clothes and everything else. So find one thing, which is one thing right now is investing is real estate. That's the best way that you can have to create equity, generational wealth.
It always has been.
Always has been.
Since the beginning of time. So having a roadmap, having a plan, being able to get with somebody like yourself who can help mentor some folks, not only just being their agent, but mentoring them on multiple transactions to help them build wealth and build generational wealth. I appreciate you coming on today and spending time with us. What are you going to leave folks today with? What another nugget? You got another nugget?
I do. I want to say that I'm here to help create a roadmap for you. I'm here to educate you. I'm here to hold your hand all the way to the end, from the beginning to the end. And guess what? Do you realize how many phone calls I get after I've closed and helped you purchase your new home? Because you're still going to have questions after you move into your home, and I'm also there for that. And everybody can't say that, because what I've learned in this industry is that a lot of realtors, if you're not ready, they don't want to have anything to do to you. The difference between Indie Home Solutions and Middland Real Estate is we'll work to help you get qualified, but you have to stick with us to make sure we get you to the finish line.
Right. Yeah, you're right, man. We do have the free credit coaching. So if anybody needs to get their credit figured out, or whatever the case may be, that's good, man. Thank you, Eric Middleton, Middland Real Estate.
Thanks for having me.
Like I said, a giant in the industry, man. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.